Hi there. Yes, can you hear me?
Hi,
Yes, we
Jamie.
can. Thank you.
Hi.
I just at the regular meeting, I'd just like to share a couple of things from council.
Okay, sounds good. We'll
Thank you.
make sure to give you the floor.
Thank you.
All right. It's 5 o'clock, so we can begin our work session. Do we have Tracy on Zoom?
She said she would join us via Zoom, so I don't see her yet. Oh, there she is. She just came on. Tracy has her hand raised. Tracy has her hand raised to join.
I'm here.
Hi, Tracy.
Hello.
All right, we can begin the work session. First one is 139 Valley Road renovations.
I didn't have any comments.
I didn't have any comments either, Bob.
No, not even either.
Tracy?
Yeah, I was just curious. I know it's a public hearing, so we will have an opportunity to talk about it anyway, but I was curious how that glass canopy works. It looked like that whole assembly was pretty thin, and I'm not sure if it's really glass or maybe it's like a plastic panel maybe that goes on there. But it seems like if it were glass, it would have some like a frame around it, creating a deeper section where that canopy exists. So I was just curious how that worked.
Talk about that. I had no comments on this one. So we can move on to but that's a public hearing, so we'll have to discuss that in any case. 537 Lee Avenue edition. Comments from the board?
I have some comments. It looks like some of the items that we discussed weren't picked up on the drawings. We still have a mixture of 4/1 and 6/1. And it was my understanding from our discussion last time that all of the new windows were going to match the existing 6/1s. So we need some clarification on that. Um, that's the main item. There's some other things like the dormer on the north elevation isn't really shown accurately. It looks like it matches the front dormer, but when you look at the photos, it doesn't. So maybe verify that there is no changes to that north dormer in the scope of work.
I was wondering where the roof pitch for the new addition came from. The 12 or the 1312 seemed a bit random compared to the, I'm guessing 1012 pitch of the existing roof. I mean, there is the turret, but that seems to
Right.
be its own thing, or should be its own thing. Then the band board striking the window where it strikes on the main elevation of the addition just bugs me. I don't know if that's something I can talk about, but it's just
At the second floor, David.
yeah,
Yeah.
the band board should
Yeah.
either become the head of the window or
something.
something.
Right.
I'm not sure what the answer is, but
All I had, Bob, was thought, and I don't know if we talked about this last time, but on the north elevation in the garage, if we add a window, we've got 3 windows right now in that part of the addition, and I'm just wondering if we add a 4th window, that would balance that out a little better.
All right, Tracy, anything?
I was just going back and forth. I was wondering if it might be cleaner if we do away with that decorative roof. But that was just an idea. I mean, it looks fine. It doesn't look like the roof is really doing anything. It's just kind of added feature. Here's something I was kind of questioning.
All right, I didn't have any comments to add, so. We could move on to 440 East Jackson Road Garage.
No comments from me.
No comments.
No comments.
None for me, Bob.
All right, I'm the same, so we could move that 440 East Jackson to pre-approval. All right, next we have 535 Tuxedo Boulevard. Comments from the board?
I had none.
I just wondered if we had a window on the east elevation that might add a little bit to that side of the building. So how you guys feel about that on the east side?
I had that same comment, just because we wouldn't end up with two blank sides at the garage.
Right.
Yeah, I just wondered if a steeper roof pitch was considered to coordinate with the house. And then a minor item, if they could add rake trim to the gable to match the house, that would look nice. Those were my only two comments.
Issue was there, I'm just making notes so I can check with the homeowner, and I couldn't understand what he said.
Who did you need to? Chuck, could you repeat your comment?
Oh,
please?
I just, on the east elevation, if we add a window, I think Tracy had the same comment.
Yes.
All right. Discuss that in the meeting. Last on our agenda this evening is 55 West Moody.
Oh, we've got 310 Clark got it.
Oh, yeah, that got added. I don't have the drawings with me. Did we have those?
Did you
Was there a set?
did you guys have hard
I know
copies
the
of
email.
310 Clarks that got Bob, do you need one?
Fly over it.
Yeah, I'll share it and I'll give it back to you, Joe.
I have one, so I can just.
Okay. I mean, I've got one. I printed one, so we can share if
I
you all
printed
want.
myself.
Okay, we're good.
Okay, so 310 Clark,
Okay.
comments. Dave?
Um,
Yeah, no, I got it.
okay.
Yeah.
I appreciate the real chimney, which is nice.
Yeah.
And then two comments about consider adding a window in the south wall of the garage. And then consider a laundry room window facing east. And that's more for appreciation of the room inside, because it is just, we a dark laundry room, it's kind of depressing. That's it.
I had the same comments about the windows, same windows, same.
Yeah, same comments.
Yeah.
Just from a drafting standpoint, I didn't show any balusters at the steps that going up to the existing porch. Those are new steps. I guess that's just a drafting thing, but also I don't know what the infill is at the siding of the shed roof on the west side of the new porch. So we clarify that. And then just a comment, the front doors are now pairs of doors and the one side is fixed. To me, I think they were both operable. One could be in a fixed position with hardware, and then you could, still have the operable man door. I just think from a standpoint of usability, whatever, that would work. So anyway, that's all.
Right. Tracy, do you have anything to add? I think.
No, nothing that hasn't already been discussed.
Okay, thanks. All right, then we can move on to 55 West Moody. I was gonna give that back to Joe. If you want that.
Comments.
Yeah, go ahead. Joe.
I like the building. I think it's, it's got some really nice things going on with it. The deep overhangs are, kind of reminiscent of prairie style type buildings, that sort of thing. I'm having a hard time figuring out just, what's really going on with the windows. The fenestration becomes a really important element, in buildings of this size. And so being a residential style building, what would lend itself to, that type of configuration? I see verticals and I see them in repetitive nature. And what softens this is the curved walls with the wood siding and all that. And he's trying to tie that together with his balconies. So I'd like a little more clarification on that. And then also on the fourth floor, I'm not sure what's going on. I couldn't determine from the plans to the elevation what's going on with the windows, if they're just continuous strip of windows or if they stop at a point, and then I couldn't really tell from the elevation. So I think we need some clarification on that if we could get it. And then from just one more comment, from a drafting standpoint, I'm a stickler for this, but I had a hard time reading the floor plans in relationship to the elevations because everything is monochromatic as far as the floor plans. So, having things pop out, you've got solid lines going through doorways and, so I think that could stand to be cleaned up a little bit if we make a resubmittal. So,
And is this preliminary?
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, it's preliminary, so. Right.
I was just wanted to have a talk about the scale of it. It is in a commercial district where it belongs. And I'm seeing this the floor to floor height, and I'd be interested in knowing what the actual ceiling height is in the units. And it is immediately adjacent to the Marshall Place Historic District, backs up to it. So, it is placed forward on the lot that might help keep it from overshadowing the houses too much, but that is a bit of a concern. I mean, I think it's a very nice looking building. It's obviously a very thoughtful design. And I'd like to have a conversation about that.
Our shadow studies required. So, Webster.
I don't know. That would be a Joe question.
Our shadow studies required, Webster, for.
I mean, Mara may have taken that into consideration when she, from what the answers that I've been given is that the location of the plot plan has been approved. Okay, so.
It's probably far enough back since it's front to the property and also the train tracks and all that, so yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was saying, is placed far enough front that it probably won't be that much of an issue, but given its scale and that it is kind of on the top of the hill, that all kinds of plays in.
Tracy, did you have anything to add?
Yeah, I guess similarly in scale, I was wondering if it needed to be 4 stories. I think the scale it helps that top piece is floating, that you don't see a wall that continues up that high. that helps with the scale a little bit, but I was just wondering if they could do away with a floor. Probably not, but just throw it out there as an idea. And then I was curious, on the rendering, it looks nice, like in the middle of the building where you can kind of see that curve cuts into the building. It looks like there's windows that go beyond the floor plate, so that there'd be glass kind of at the floor. And I was just curious if that's truly the way they're going to detail that. I would like to know more about how that's going to work. And then what those materials are, because you're going to be looking at the underside of that. And then I was also curious about how they're shedding water off the building. I would hate to see a downspout kind of interrupt the edge of the building that they've got established so far. And that's it.
Yeah, I think some clarification on some of the materials would be good. With the brick coursing too, I wasn't sure if some of that's stepping back or if that's just up at the upper third level. Like it's hard to tell from the rendering, or it's just corbelled. So a little bit of clarification on some materials.
I'm just looking back and forth between the elevations and the rendering. And to me, on the rendering, it looks like those penthouse walls are stepped back
Mhm.
farther
Yeah.
than what's shown on the elevation in the plan.
Right. That's
And
what
I
was
think
thinking.
that stepping back that we see on the rendering kind of helps relieve some of the massing,
Right.
the blocky kind of massing.
Right.
So I'd like some clarification about what is actually planned there.
It looks like some areas are definitely flush with the parapet below it.
In the plan,
Plan.
but not in the rendering,
Not
Not in the
yeah.
rendering.
because it's
Oh, God.
Look at-
exaggerated overhang or
Look at
whatever.
the cover sheet.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of nice that it steps back a bit.
Yeah, I think
helps.
that helps. The stepping back helps a lot. So I just want to make sure that what is actually planned there.
Mhm. All right, any other comments? All right, it's 5:18. We're going to take a break until 5:30. And we'll start the official meeting at that time. So hang out with us and we'll start shortly. Thank you. All right, welcome everyone to the Architectural Review Board meeting. We finished our work session, so the official meeting is now underway. Introduce Yolanda Wilkins and Joe Rodriguez with the city. We have Jamie Hassmeyer, who's our council liaison on Zoom. Carol Dunkey, David Yates, Chuck Yannicki. I'm Bob Buckman, and we also have Tracy Collins on Zoom. All volunteer board members, architects as board members. I have a few items of business before the meeting. First one is review of meeting minutes from September 19th. I believe all of us are here for that, so may I have a motion on that?
I make a motion to accept the meeting minutes from September 29th as submitted.
September 19th.
19.
Sure, 19th, yes.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? All right, the meeting minutes from the 19th are approved as written. We do have also one pre-approval. So I'll ask for a motion. 440 East Jackson Road. May I have a motion on that?
I'll make a motion to approve 440 East Jackson Road as submitted.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? All right, so 440 East Jackson has been approved. If you're here for that one, you're good to go. At this point, if we call your project, we would ask that you come, if you're here in person, to come up and introduce yourself at the microphone. If you're on Zoom, to raise your Zoom hand, and Yolanda will add you to the screen. I know, Jamie, you wanted to make a comment. Do you want to do that before we start?
Yeah,
the
is that
project?
okay? I'll just be super.
Sure.
Yeah.
Please,
thanks.
go ahead.
Thanks,
Thank you.
everybody. I just wanted to point out two things. A week or so ago, there was a boards and commissions chair and vice chair meeting, and Laura Arnold our mayor, has worked on a handbook for boards and commissions, and I just wanted to let everybody know that if you're interested in reading that document, it will live on the website. If it's not there already, it will be soon. And if you want a printed copy, just to reach out to me and I can get that for you. The other item is that in our meeting on Tuesday night, I just wanted to give you guys a heads up because I thought this might be of particular interest to you. We've started discussing accessory dwelling units and what that might look like for Webster Grove. So just thought I'd give you guys a little heads up on that.
Okay, great.
Thanks for all you do.
Thanks, Jamie.
Thanks, Jess.
All right, first project is 139 Valley Road. Anyone here for that? Good evening. Appreciate you coming. Comments from the board members?
I think Tracy had a
Tracy?
question.
Yeah, it was just, it's more curiosity how the glass awning will work. Right now, it looks like it's just a thin, the way it's illustrated in the drawings, it looks like it's just a thin plane that sits on a couple of brackets. And I was curious if it's actually glass, will it have some kind of frame around it? Or maybe that material isn't really glass. I was just wondering how that was going to be constructed and if the depth of that might change as a result.
Construction materials were defined by the project team, contractor built. Homeowner not present today at that time, but really desires some natural light down there, and also to keep the rain and leaves out of that stairwell. I think there'll be access for high school, college age children kind of coming in and out of the lower lounge. It'll be used frequently, and I think they've had water problems in that stairwell already. But to answer your question, I do believe that recent information from the steel fabricators that we might need a steel supporter too, which would come down in between rails at intervals, but keep the lean profile in front.
Yeah, it looks like in the drawings, your bracket is repetitive. So it's not just on each end, right?
And
Mhm.
also blankets get mounted. Install underneath the dentils of, the existing brick dentils.
Mhm.
And then above the word window head, so which kind of defines the lean profile of it. But again, we're kind of working with the steel fabricator at this time. This is
Mhm.
this design concept. But then in the future, it could be demounted and not impact the original architecture.
So do you have an idea if you were to run verticals down to the railing, how that would coordinate with the elevation and also with that railing?
And we're out past the fireplace. Like it would probably be 2 supports. And we'll see if we can pull that off.
Yeah, I would be interested to see what that's going to look like. If you're going to need supports, I think that would be pretty crucial to the appearance of the project, is the size of those supports and how it coordinates with the rest of the structure and the fenestration.
You guys mind putting the microphone on the podium?
Oh, is your microphone on, the red light, green light?
Better?
Yeah, I was really turned up loud, but so I didn't catch though, but is it gonna be glass material?
Yes.
Okay.
And Tracy, did you hear the part about there may be uprights that are
Mhm.
needed to support the canopy? And we were discussing where they would go and what it looks like. And I think before I'm comfortable voting on this, I would like to see where those are going to go and what they're going to look like and how it coordinates with the fenestration and the existing structure. And that new railing. I mean, the new railing looks great. I'd really like to see if those uprights are required, which it sounds like they might be, how that's going to work and how they're going to look.
We're working through that, yeah.
Okay.
I think that we could adjust the spacing of the brackets and come up with 3 posts. So 1 at each corner and 1 in the center, and that would probably be a good solution. The railing will be custom fabricated from steel, integrated with the brackets and awning canopy, excuse me.
Yeah, I agree with Carol. I think that's, whatever you do there, it's going to affect the look of your railing and how that's going to blend in with the fenestration, the doors and all that. So yeah, I think we need to see what's going to happen there. It's going to change the design on the railing somewhat, I would think.
I understand that, yep.
Yeah.
In my preamble, I was to include that it's
Right.
very much on the back side of the house and not street visible, not street facing facade, and not really visible from the side or rear neighbors. And I know that's not the main concern, but we're working on it. So sure, if that requires a return to the ARB, if that's truly the desire of the board, then we can do that.
Yeah, I would like to see it.
Would we be able to do a conditional approval so they can move forward with other scopes of work? I wonder. Or do we have to hold the whole project up?
Are there any other comments on any other parts of the project is the question.
No, I like it. Nice house. I mean, it's just, just my own personal, I like it's an attractive house. My opinion is that rear canopy, if it's going to be demountable and not going to affect the architecture in long term, I think, just my opinion is maybe if you add a 5th strut and maybe if that horizontal becomes an angle down, you're gonna get a lot more buy-in power on, on structure. And then just my opinion is the 1-inch tempered glazing might be overkill. Like if you just go with like 5/16 laminated, you're probably more than good, from a weight wise point of view.
Sure.
That's just me. I like, eyeballing.
Sure, and I
But,
appreciate that input.
But yeah, that's my opinion.
Well, the uprights wouldn't be demontable though. They would be there.
No,
Yeah.
I'm suggesting,
Yeah.
I think, just from looking at it, it's probably structurable, that's a word, without posts.
Yeah.
in my
I,
mind.
if it were to change to a lighter material.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. So I feel like there's some decisions to be made and some things to be worked out. So we'll be actually voting on what is truly proposed rather than a lot of what ifs and ands and buts and maybe this and maybe that.
I understand that
I-
often the trajectory of the project has a real hot deadline, and that doesn't happen to be the case on this project. So I'm sure I'd be happy to return with proper steel details for the awning and the railing.
I think that would be in everybody's best interest. The project sounds good to me.
Okay.
yeah. But, and this one last comment, I mean, it's possible that could be even aluminum, powder coated aluminum versus steel. Might
Sure. That would lighten up the awning
lighten
for
and
sure.
Also not be a rust prone thing in the future.
Yep, that's a good point. Mhm.
Is this house originally Harris Armstrong?
Yes, with an addition added to it, to the north.
Yeah, that's what
Yeah.
I thought.
So it was a
North,
single
to the
garage
north.
bay, and then the second garage bay was added.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Good eyeballs.
Great looking house.
Yeah, so at this point, we can table the project as a whole. Or we can vote on what's here. And if the canopy changes, you would just resubmit that portion. Anybody have an issue with that, or do you have a preference? Because there's more to this than just the canopy.
I'm not sure what you're asking me to respond to.
Oh, so what I'm saying is we, to my board members, my fellow board members, we can vote on what's in the drawings. And then if that canopy changes, you would have to resubmit that portion anyway.
To clarify, so if the vertical supports are not required, perhaps if it goes to aluminum,
Right.
then perhaps as submitted could be approved. But I think it's
Right, I
okay
think
if we need to
that's-
postpone.
Right. So so then I'm coming back to you and basically saying we can approve it as it's drawn. And then if you revise the detailing, you would have to resubmit that portion anyway, because it wouldn't match what was approved. So that's where I'm giving you a choice.
Yeah, you would have a choice.
No,
Yeah.
to me, that sounds quite fair.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we can go ahead and make a motion on what we see,
Okay.
and then you would just resubmit if you changed it.
All right, I'm gonna give it a shot.
All right, but before that, it's a public hearing, so is there anyone else that wants to make a comment online or in person? On 139 Valley Road? Seeing no one, may I have a motion, please?
I'll make a motion to approve 139 Valley Road submitted with the clarification that if the rear canopy design changes from what is shown on the drawings, there will be a resubmittal of the canopy configuration.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. Oppose? All right. Approved as noted.
Okay, thanks for your time.
Bet, have a good evening. All right. 537 Lee Avenue.
Mike Delaney, the architect. I think I
Back.
just saw you 2 weeks ago. Here we go again. So.
Mike, I just have a scope clarification item that I believe we discussed last time. We have a mixture of window grill styles that are shown on the drawings. And it looks like in the photographs, they're mostly 6/1s. And it's my recollection that we discussed that the addition and would be 6/1s as well. But what's shown here is still a mixture of 4/1s and 6/1s. So I just wanted to clarify, is it still your intention to go all 6/1? Especially if you look at sheet 8.2.1
Mm-hmm.
on the north elevation, you can see the mixture there.
So on the existing home, the windows are a bit different in proportion than what we're suggesting. We thought we'd leave that grander, wider proportion to the home and have the garage be somewhat subservient to it. So you can see, as I count these on the home, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 8/1 on the large window over the porch. We provided pictures for you this time. And then I've got 8/1 in the middle of the bay, but you can see when we hit the turn on the bay here, I do go down to 6/1. And then I've got 6/1 just above the front door. And so what we're doing is there is a difference. If you take a close look at those pictures, at what's there in the original architecture, and we're tying into the 6/1s in the front
Okay.
because they are closer in proportion to the 6/1s on the home.
And then when I'm looking, could you turn to the north elevation, please?
Yes, ma'am. I'm there.
It's on A2.1.
Mhm.
And I'm looking at the north elevation and in the small connector piece, I'm seeing 6/1s on the second floor and 4/1s on the first floor. And then it looks like we've got 4/1s on that north elevation. That's what's drawn.
I'll remove my staple. Excuse me. So at the rear elevation of the existing home, yeah, I didn't get it right, did I? I can see we didn't hit the correct editing on those windows on the first floor. Looks like we got the second floor right, though. Didn't we? So what we're proposing on our addition, however, I would think it would make more sense for us to go with the 4/1s on the larger garage portion. And then, yeah, the connectors, they are thin enough, I think, also to be 4/1. I don't know if you'd agree with the second floor, the 3 windows that are together there. They're 6/1, and perhaps those would be better as 4/1.
Okay, and then what about the ones on the existing house?
Yeah, we'll have to fix those. I thought they got them. I'm sorry. Lord.
We've got some shown as 4/1 here. And these are shown as 4/1s here. So I'm trying to clarify so we'll know what the proposed mix actually will look like.
Okay, so I apologize. I did delegate this to someone in my office and I should have checked it before it went out. Would it be possible to come to an agreement at this meeting of what these windows should be, and we will get that documented?
Yeah, sure. If you have an idea of, as far as I'm concerned, I guess I shouldn't speak for everybody, but if you have an idea of exactly what you want, we can talk through that and read it into a motion.
Okay. Yeah, I apologize for that. Okay.
If it would make it easier for you, you can just call out the ones that you're proposing to change, or how would you like to do it? I know you're kind of on the spot to think fast, so.
Oh, I'm sorry, I put you guys on. May I approach?
Sure. Yeah, I think the front's fine. These guys. And then just to, that, yeah, so what are those going to be, those new guys? Those are going to be 6/1s. So we can say that I just want to review this to make sure that I'm understanding what you're proposing. So we're saying that on this north elevation, that the new windows in the existing portion of the house will be 6/1s. And then on the connector piece and on the garage portion, these will be 4/1s. Is that correct? Is that what you've got in mind here? Are these going to be, those are going to be 6s and this are going to be 6s? Okay. And then these guys are going to be, because that was my recollection of what we discussed, was that these were going to be 6s. Okay, and then, let's see, okay, okay, so basically, really everything on this north elevation is going to be 6/1s then. Okay, so that'll all be 6/1s. And then let's just kind of take a quick look at these other guys here. Yeah, it looks like the other ones are. Yeah, okay. I think we're good. Did you all want to see this?
They're all gonna be 6/1s.
Yeah, we're
Got it.
coming up with all 6/1.
That's fine. That's fine.
Okay, okay. Tracy, does that sound good?
All 6/1. Yep, that sounds good.
Okay, okie dokie. Let's see what, okay, and then also on that elevation, this is just probably a drafting housekeeping item. The dormer in the existing portion doesn't match the photo, and I just wanted to verify, it probably got copied from the front elevation and just didn't get edited. I just wanted to verify whether there's a scope of work for that dormer on the north side or if it's existing to remain.
I think you've got my elevation. You can't look at that.
Oh, did I? Sorry, I did.
I knew I left
Beef.
Like, where did you go?
Yes.
Thing about this guy here, it's, yeah, because there's scope of work in that thing. Okay, so there's no change, yeah, because it just doesn't match the photos, and so I just was,
Yeah, the photos have a single
yeah,
window.
so we'll just,
Yeah, this stuff's. And then I realized this. There's no scope.
okay, I just wanted to verify so we're all clear, so people don't get out there and go, hey, what's going on there? Okay, yeah, so I think that addresses my questions. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your flexibility.
And then I think some other folks.
Other folks have comments?
Yeah.
The only other comment I had was, adding that window at the garage on that north elevation, but that's, that was the only other comment I had, but that's, take it or leave it.
Yeah, and
I'm sorry, you'd like us to add a window there?
You've got 3 windows on that north side and at the garage. I thought adding another window below the second floor window might help balance that a look, so.
Okay, is that
I think
a
it's,
suggestion or,
Yes.
okay, I did talk to the client about that very item. I think we've got a storage room right behind there
Yeah.
and so I could ask him again.
Okay. that's fine.
So, yeah, I'm with
Yeah.
you.
All right. I know.
all right, David, did you have comments?
Just, I had it's just a little quirk is the band board. On the south elevation of the new garage addition, just where it hits that window head or doesn't hit the head is just weird to me. I don't think anyone else had that same comment. I would consider maybe making that band board like the head of the window.
You know, I looked at that. The detail on this house, if you look at the pictures, the top of the windows, there's a nice definition everywhere on the, I mean, we don't have the historical fabric here anymore. We're looking at aluminum siding or vinyl. I don't know.
Right. It's completely different.
But at least they're well defined.
Yeah.
And I felt if we put that board at the top,
Yeah.
it's no longer at the spring point of the truss and all that.
Mhm.
And it's,
Gotcha.
it's a little, so I know it's a little odd, but at least it goes up and defines itself.
Okay.
Because
Yeah, that's rationality.
so I have thought about it. I may not have gotten my window grids right, but I thought about that.
Cool.
Right.
That's it. So.
Okay, and then Tracy, did you have anything else?
No,
And-
I mean, I was open to removing that decorative roof that kind of goes around the addition, but I'm sure that was added for a reason. So we can keep it.
All right. I think that's it on the comments. I believe we're just clarifying some window fenestrations
Yes,
that
sir.
were.
And then just to verify, was that adding a window into the storage room on the rear elevation, first floor of the addition, is that an option? Okay, okay.
Campaign for it.
Right. Yeah, that's not a requirement. It would just be optional. Okay,
Thank you so much for your time.
all right, with that, do I have a motion?
Oh,
I will make a motion to approve 537 Lee Avenue with the understanding that all of the windows on the north elevation will be 6/1. And there is an option to add a window into the storage room on the garage portion, first floor of the new addition.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? All right, Mike, you're approved as noted.
okay. Thank you again.
Thanks.
You. All right, next we have 535 Tuxedo Boulevard.
Good evening.
Good
Debbie Richardson for Coach House Garages.
Hey, Debbie.
I did hear your comments during the pre-meeting. And I've talked to the homeowner. Oh, okay, well,
Surprise.
I sent you an email then. I've not met you before. It's nice to meet you. So I did outline the three things and I'm not sure where you are with those. Adding a window to the east elevation, that would run around $450. They already have one window in the building, along with a walk-in. So I'm gonna pass it on along to them, whether they're what their thoughts are on on adding the second window.
That would be fine.
Okay. But then the other two things that are a little more involved, the steeper roof pitch.
Yeah, I just didn't know if it had been considered. It's not a requirement. I just thought with the roof pitches on the house that it might coordinate better. And I just didn't know if it had been thought about to do
Thought about
decided no. Okay, that's fair
the
enough.
highest that we go as far as our company is 812. And I think that house pitch looks like about 10-12, so we wouldn't be able to match it anyway, so. And then the third item that you asked about was how the gable on the house is trimmed.
Uh-huh.
That blue trim is pretty thick. I'm not sure if you know how thick that is, but our trim only comes in white. So the trim that we're putting on there or suggesting on there is the same trim all over the rest of the building, as well as all the other things on the house, except for that one piece, you know, over the gable. We could put a freeze board up there, but it's still gonna be white.
Yeah, I mean,
And-
yeah, it's just a minor item.
Okay.
And a lot of times it's like, you know, sometimes people are like, oh yeah, we didn't think of that. That would look great. So, you know, but these are just, you know, minor fine tuning.
Okay, so we would prefer not to do that again. It's additional cost, about
Sure.
$600. And then, you know, the pitch, even going to 612 would add about $800. So.
No, that's fine. So, yeah. Yeah.
So we would add another window on the east elevation. And
Okay.
that's all I heard when I
Yeah.
was listening.
That was, I think that's all the comments from the board, so we can make a motion based on that.
Sure, just a
vision.
quick clarification
Yeah,
is,
go ahead, Carol.
is the window that's being added on the east elevation, is that gonna to match the other window in
Sure.
size and?
Yeah, it'll be the same window.
Okay, okay.
Okay, great. With that,
I'll make a motion that we approve the garage for 535 Tuxedo Boulevard with the following stipulation that the window will be added to the east elevation, which will match the window that they're proposing on the other side of the building. So
Second?
all in favor?
Aye.
Hi.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? All right, you're approved as
Thank you for your
noted.
time.
Thank you very much.
Best. Good night. Next, we have 310 Clark.
Hi. Sorry, my name is Tom McGraw from Link Architecture.
Welcome, Tom.
hi, how you doing?
Hello.
All right, so there were a few comments. Who wants to start?
Well, I think I had two comments that.
Dave.
Hi, sorry. I think I had two comments that everyone sort of agreed on, that we'd want to see if you would consider a window in the south wall of the garage, as well as considering a window in the laundry room.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the laundry room was mostly because why have a dark laundry room, you know? But then those are the only two comments I had.
Yeah, totally reasonable.
Okay. Carol,
Okay.
go ahead.
I'll make a motion to approve 310 Clark as submitted with a clarification that a window will be added into the laundry room and that a window will be added into the side of the garage.
And I guess just that they'd match the other windows and
That-
style. Yeah.
Yeah, that match the other windows in style.
Absolutely.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thanks.
Aye, opposed? All right, Tom, you're approved.
Thanks for your time.
As noted. Have a
Right.
good evening. All right, and then we have one more on the list tonight, which is 55 West Moody preliminary.
Hello.
Good evening.
Hi.
I'm Tyler Stevens, principal at Corten Architecture. We wanted to come before you tonight because we've got an exciting new project. I can tell you personally that I've been waiting to have a project in Webster Groves for quite some time. I have a number of clients who we do this type of project in other cities around. And we've been trying to do one in Webster Groves for some time. We started working on this one 4 years ago, if you can believe that. So we're excited to come here tonight. I apologize because I made a presentation on PowerPoint with all kinds of great things that I wanted to show you about where the architecture comes from and what we're trying to achieve and all of that. But I understand that we don't have the ability to do a presentation. So
Shadow puppets.
yeah, shadow puppets. That's what I'm here with. You have a packet that was submitted. I am at a little bit of a disadvantage because I don't have that packet, so I don't know what you're looking at.
Oh,
Um, hang on.
okay.
Okay. So as I understand, this is a preliminary or a conceptual hearing, which is not coming for an actual vote or anything, just to kind of get your feedback and sort of take your temperature.
Yeah.
So that is what this is.
Mhm.
Let me start by, let's start on page 001. So there's some contextual photos of around. When I say this type of building before, our company has done a number of multifamily structures, mostly in Clayton, but most recently in Kirkwood. There we have 4 different buildings in Kirkwood, 1 under construction right now. These are condominium buildings, by and large. They're not apartments, so they're for sale. And because of that, they're a little bit different than an apartment structure. Parking is all inside the building down in a garage. And there are always 2 spaces per unit, regardless of what the zoning code says, because that's what the market demands. And the units themselves are larger in nature. We're talking about units that are about 2,400 square feet for the normal. There's always a penthouse level on the top that will have units close to 3,000 square feet. They are very, very popular. There are this type of building is really great because it's unlike an apartment building that has a lot of amenities and like a swimming pool and a dog park and all those things. Those types of buildings are really geared towards younger people who want all these amenities. I liken them to an extension of a dorm complex on a college campus. The condominium buildings like this are much smaller in scale and don't have amenities in them. And that's on purpose because the amenity is the town. The amenity that comes with the building, why people want to live there is they want that walking lifestyle. They want to be able to go to their favorite restaurant, walk to the grocery store, go down to the dry cleaners, whatnot. We don't need workout facilities because there's typically a gym in a town. These are always built in urban areas near the downtown. So it's really, Webster's been kind of ripe for this for a long time. And there aren't too many options like this, certainly not new buildings being built in Webster. So my client is the same client who did the 3 most recent ones in Kirkwood across from City Hall on Madison, if you're familiar with those buildings. So same client. And we want to bring a similar thing, but the thing about it is we don't have a repeated design. We don't go into a town and say, this is it, they all look the same. We try to really match the architecture to the language of the town. So we spent a lot of time studying Kirkwood before we did those 3. And so in working on this, I spent a lot of time in the downtown area kind of surveying buildings, looking around. There are a number of different buildings and patterns that you see in Webster in the downtown area. Plus, anecdotally, about half of our office lives in Webster Groves. Amanda is here tonight with me. So we know Webster pretty well. What we are showing you there in terms of this rendering is kind of based on the language of what is in the downtown. And I'll just describe that. I don't have all the pictures here for you to look at, but if you go to those street views there on the page 1, most of downtown consists of architectural language that's pretty simple in terms of massing. I'm talking about boxes. And I don't mean boxes insultingly. I mean, they're just simple boxes. Most are 2 stories. There are a few 3 as well. And they have, by and large, a very repetitive rhythm of windows down each side where you have the same window marching along. A lot of times in between those windows are articulated columns in the brick, kind of almost read as pilasters. It's sort of a historic warehouse kind of look that you see in many buildings throughout St. Louis. They're all brick too. So that was certainly part of the language that we wanted to bring into it, a simple mass, repetitive windows, a very predictable grid, let's say, around the outside. But then to add some life and character to the building, we're developing what's kind of a two-layered approach. If you look at the, if you go to page 6, and you look at these renderings here, that one at the top left, you can sort of read this pretty well. On the outside is this brick skin, this envelope that has the nice rhythm of the openings to it. They're all the same. We have a lot of brick detail in there, kind of pulling out some what appear to be pilasters. And then inside those large openings, what would, if this were a warehouse building, maybe that would be all glass. In a residential building, we close it down a little bit and we add some warmth with another layer, which is the wood. There's kind of a wood siding material. It's not real wood, by the way. It's composite, so it doesn't rot and deteriorate. But that creates the ability to then get kind of sculptural on that inner layer and add a little bit of interest, certainly modernize the look a bit as that wood kind of dances around and has the glass in it behind the brick screen. I mentioned that a lot of the buildings in the downtown are 2- and 3-story. This project actually has come before you a while back, several years ago. The owner of the lot wanted to go ahead and get it approved through zoning. So that I assume that was you all were the board on that, but the project has already been approved in terms of its site plan. The footprint of the building was already sort of kind of predetermined. And so that's another reason why this massing comes in. And it was approved for 4 stories. According to the zoning, so the maximum height 4 stories. So we definitely have 4 stories. I'm not trying to hide that, but visually, when you look at the massing on the town, we really wanted to bring it down visually a little bit because most of what you see and directly across the street is one of the larger buildings in town on Moody there. It's a church. I don't know the name of the church, but it's just on the south side. Webster Presbyterian. Okay. Well, it has a pretty large classroom building in the back that's right on the street. It's 3 stories, brick mass, much of what this is. So what you see that we've done here in the elevation is really separate that top floor and kind of visually understate it. We stop the brick at the 3rd floor and float the roof up above, pull the walls in so everything is recessed and in shadow. And that way the building reads much more like a 3-story building than it does like a 4. And it also picks up on horizontal lines that further, make it appear shorter than it is. Beyond that, it's a pretty traditional elevation with a base main part in the middle and then a capital on the top. That follows the language of other buildings in town, articulated cornices, see a lot of that. So we're picking up on that with the brickwork. And then the color too, kind of this muted brown color, which seems to be an appropriate sort of language for Webster. So all in all, it's a fairly simple in terms of the design concept, and we get a lot of playful variety in it. If you look at the floor plans on page, let's see, 3. We've got 2 floor plans there the floors will alternate between those 2. You'll notice on the corner balconies, balcony is not even probably the right word. We call them more of an outdoor room, which is very popular in these units. People love living on that outdoor space, and it's a whole living room out there. But what we're doing is we're rotating them around the building. They flip as they go up. And so that way it doesn't stack. It's not this static vertical line, but something that integrates a lot more into the grid. You can see the unit sizes there, their general range and how they lay out 4 on a floor. And then up on the top level, there are only 3 units. So lot more exterior space recessed back.
Do any of the units go multi-floors or are they all the same?
They're all on one level at this point. We have had buyers in the past who have bought 2 units on top of each other and asked us to blow a hole in the floor. That does happen. But I can tell you this particular client will not allow that to happen. Some clients don't mind that and some do, some developers. So this developer doesn't allow for big changes like that. So this is pretty much what you see here. So that's in a nutshell. I'll stop talking at this point and take questions and comments from you all. Just knowing that, oh, the other thing I will say in terms of what was approved before, it was approved up to 17 units. So 4 stories, 17 units, and then certain setbacks off of the street were all part of that approval. We're following the setbacks. We're following the 4 stories. We are only doing 15 units though, instead of 17. It was just a little too much. And that allows us to get the 2 cars per unit down in the garage. So we have 30 parking spaces.
What's happening on the rest of on the site now that since parking's underway or underneath, what's the rest of the site planning?
Yeah, the rest of the site, which goes behind it quite a ways, is all parking. It's going to be a surface parking lot. It was part of that other approval. It was divided into 2 lots. So the lot that this building sits on basically just follows the perimeter of the building.
Yeah.
The rest of it is all parking for the building next door, which has the bank in it. It's
So
kind of part of
will
that.
have guest parking on that surface lot then?
Yes,
People coming into the building?
yes, that's correct.
Good. Because otherwise street parking's going to be.
Yeah, there's some street parking over there on that street, but it's limited, of course.
Right.
I'm not sure if your presentation it showed it better, but I think seeing the massing compared to the church building next door would be
Yeah.
really helpful.
We have a model of all of downtown. Shows
Yeah.
Nice.
Well,
Yeah.
it shows that pretty well.
Yeah, I mean, I think the idea of the brick part of this, relating to the church, works really well. I appreciate, I mean, from Webster, like all of us, but having worked downtown for years and, just bringing a modern vision of that same brick that you see. One question I had is, it's a little bit, I'm a little bit unsure what's going on with the brick patterning. It almost looks like in the renderings that it's stepping back, but maybe that's just all a plane or change.
No, it will be stepping.
Okay.
We will corbel it.
Yeah.
That's to get those to read as pilasters. We'll
Yeah.
kind of step it out as they come around. It's
Right.
not really a true, massive column like you would have in
Right.
an old
Okay.
building. But then it'll corbel at the top as well.
Yeah. That's what I was curious about. So thanks for clarifying that.
Yeah. And the wood, I'll call it morphous or curvy, whatnot behind the brick is cool.
The
It's
next
a nice-
layer.
Yeah, it's a layer, the layer,
Mhm.
nice.
Mhm.
Is that gonna be, you said a composite or like a Parkflex type?
Yeah, we're looking at a number of different materials. Most of the ones that we're looking at are actually aluminum. It's an aluminum siding for.
With a grain look.
Yeah, they
Oh,
have they have veneer. Some of them are actual
right.
wood even
Yeah.
veneered onto this thin aluminum strip siding that snap block,
Yep.
in
Yep.
place. And that curves really easily because they're
Right.
strips that are, 4 inches or so. That's one option. There are others that are some composites that are thicker. You see them a lot in decking.
Yeah.
3/4 inch. Is it Geolam? Yeah, I don't know if you're familiar with Geolam.
Yeah.
It's a material. I'm pretty sure it's all recycled plastic, isn't it? I think it's this fascinating material where they take stuff like recycled milk jugs, let's
Yeah.
say, and make it in. And what's really nice, what I like about that material is it gives the feel of wood, comes in kind of wood colors, and the plastic has strands in it, and so it's kind of textured in these strips, but it's not faking wood grain. It's very obvious that it's not real wood. So they're not trying to fake it, which I kind of appreciate. It's its own thing, but it has those qualities.
Yeah.
Which of the ones we use will come down to price, of course, and there
Right.
are many options.
And then the rendering suggests maybe a similar material on the soffits.
Yes. Yeah, the way these, I said, outdoor rooms carve in, we really want it to almost feel like an entire wood box that you're recessed into.
Yeah.
Where the ceiling and the walls are all the same. The floor could very well, like most of our terraces do have wood floors. So that's could be very much akin. Yeah, you could, if it starts to be, as we study this, if it starts to be too overwhelming, it's like, oh, there's too much wood, then certainly changing the ceiling would probably be the first thing to do, because the walls will be wood and the floor wants to be. So the ceiling could go to another material that's more like an exterior plasterboard or something.
Well, when I looked at it, one thing that struck me was the windows and the verticality of those windows and how they operate, and if, you know, some are fixed or whatever. I think more detail on that, I think, would be helpful, particularly as it relates to the floor plan and how that all kind of blends together. I think Tracy had some comments about roof drainage and whatever. Tracy?
Yeah, I was just curious how you're shedding water off that roof.
I'm still a little bit curious myself.
Okay, yeah, I was just,
We
I would
don't
hate
want,
to see a downspout.
no,
in a
yeah,
roof
there
that
won't be downspouts. I can
big,
assure you
yeah.
that. It's really, the roof is, has a little pitch to it, but it really could be just a flat roof. And we could just have roof drains. That might be the
Yeah,
simplest
internal
thing to do.
drains. Yeah,
Well, yeah, because right now it's such a low slit. It's probably what, 3 to 12.
Yeah, it's,
And you don't see it from below. Too
Right.
much.
Yeah.
it's not intended to be seen. And we, many times, well, most all the time, we put our air conditioning condensing units up on the roof anyway,
In the
so.
well.
It's,
Well, right.
yeah. So
Yeah.
doing it flat with a little bit of, it would actually be sloped backwards in that case, back in and collecting drains, is probably the right thing to do.
Yeah, I think in those multifamily situations, that works pretty well to hide all that equipment up there.
I like the look of a hip roof on this
Mhm.
building
Mhm.
from a distance. It sits up high. This site is pretty high in the downtown, and I'm pretty sure you're going to be able to see this from surrounding highways, like perched up on the hill as you go down the
Right.
44, 40, either one.
Well, and yeah, and
Um,
coming down Rock Hill and Gore.
Yeah,
looking up the
certainly.
hill, for sure.
So if you're going to see it from a distance, I like the idea of it having a hip roof, which is why we're there right now. But the practicality of making it work, I don't know. So we'll definitely play with that. If we can drain it, we can figure out how to drain it well. But to answer your concern, if I hear you correctly, we will not have downspouts hanging off of this.
Yeah,
Good.
Yeah.
That was Tracy's comment, to have a downspout at the corner there.
Yeah, it
Would just look
would
very
be funny.
good.
I'm a big proponent of just letting the water flow. Just let it rush
All
off.
right, right off.
I
the
don't
edge.
understand why we can't do
Rain
that,
chains
but
on it.
Mhm. Some 4-story rain chains.
yeah.
Is where the storefront, I guess that's a storefront up at the top, for lack of better terms, you're really rendering it all as glass. So, is that the idea? It seems like in the renderings, it might be set back a little bit from the brick face, more in playing with the wood and other glass below. Is that really the thought there?
yes, if you look at the, actually, it's back even further than that. If you look at
Yeah,
the floor plans on page 4, that's the top floor. Only a small portion of it is out in that plane, which would be
Yeah.
where the wood is.
Sure.
Most of it is set back all the way around the sides and the big setbacks. And the way that I envision that happening is you set up this nice rhythm of the mullions, like a
Mhm.
storefront, and just run it all the way around. Then you go back and you say, okay, that's 100% glass. Probably don't want 100% glass in the units. So let's find the places where we want wall
Right.
and put it in there, but keep that rhythm of the mullions going along. So there's that. And then operability, maybe some of them want to be operable. And so we start introducing some here and there in right places where people would want to open them.
Mhm.
But by and large, that's the approach working through it. Be a lot of doors up there too. These, we've been doing these big bifold doors, you know, that just, you open up the whole wall, 12 feet wide. You can see that on some of these rooms going out to the big terrace spaces up there.
I think it's a very handsome looking building. I can tell that a lot of thought was put into it. I think it's really beautiful. I'm curious to know, what is the actual ceiling height in the units?
It's a good question. 10 feet is the standard ceiling height. Usually we would lower it in the kitchens and the bath and back laundry area for ductwork, but 10 feet definitely out at the perimeter.
And it's what, it's 11 what, floor to floor?
11.7.
11's, yeah. It's a 16-inch floor truss, or sometimes we can go into 18-inch floor truss. And then a 10-foot pre-cut stud, which is 9/8 and 5/8. With your plates, gets you to 10 feet.
Just a question, when I'm looking at the floor plan here for the penthouse, I'm looking at the relationship here between this wall and the wall below. And then when I look at this rendering, it looks to me like the wall that I just pointed out would be a lot more visible here than what I'm seeing.
Yeah, well, there are two things going on there. I mean, first of all, this is built into the model, so it is real in terms of what you see from that angle. But the two things I would say going on are that the distance back is just enough for a passageway for someone to walk. It's not intended to sit on it or anything. So you're talking something in the neighborhood, I don't have the scale on here, but 5 feet, let's say, back off of that wall. So that's one part. And then secondly, the roof itself, this is an optical illusion, but if you make, even though the windows are set back, but if you make the roof the same size as the building below, as the brick, when you look at it, it looks too small. It looks like it's smaller for some reason, even though it's not. So in order to make it look like this, so it's proportionally correct, the roof is actually beyond the brick. And in this case, I think we're 3 feet beyond the brick. So when you have the combination of 3 feet back, which is that darker strip you see around the brick, and then the lighter tan would be the additional 5 foot of the walkway, suddenly you don't see that wall anymore.
Yeah, thank you for explaining the depth of the overhang. And I personally think the hip roof is the thing to do, because it will be visible, because that is fairly high on the site, but there's a lot of the surrounding town that will even be looking down.
It's higher.
Yeah, yeah. Like David was saying, you know, up Rock Hill and stuff, we're substantially higher, and we'll, you know, I believe that will be visible. So, you know, if there's a way y'all could work out keeping that hip roof, I think that would be the thing to do.
Yeah, and then also the coming out Lockwood this direction, since they had the Gerber funeral home got dropped. It's only one story there, so you're going to see this from Lockwood for sure, really prominently. So,
Right. Well, in the end, we think that this, I mean, of course we're biased, but we think that this looks like Webster Groves. Even though it's a new building, it's obviously new. It's not going to look like something that's been refurbished, but it looks like Webster, and it's intended for this town. And I hope that people, you know, who view it will identify that and will latch on and will say, hey, we like that. That is Webster.
yeah, it's not alien. You know, it's not alien in the look. It'll sell quick.
I mean,
That I know.
If I had
That's
the money,
always
I'd buy one.
yeah, I mean, the quality materials and the care that you're taking with the detailing alone is gonna, I think, you know, I really applaud the design team, because I think it's great for the town.
Yeah,
myself.
it really does look nice. And for those of us who you know, have lived here for a long time and walk around this area, especially the architecturally inclined, we know the details around here pretty darn well.
Mhm.
And I can tell that you guys have really worked on reflecting that here.
Good, good. Thank you. They will open at about 1.5. And I can tell you that the penthouses always sell first. They'll be gone in the first week. So if you want one,
Right.
They're ready.
Is that the brown brick, is that something like made it that looks like there's the building on the corner of Gore and Lockwood, there's the brown iron spotty.
is that the CJ Muggs?
Yeah,
Yeah,
something in that realm.
This
yes.
would, that would probably, this would be lighter than mug.
Yeah, a little
I
bit,
think.
that one is kind
lighter.
of dark.
Yeah, I think the lighter look would be better, especially when it's up high like that.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This particular developer client of mine always prefers buildings that are light brick. They
Yeah.
don't like dark brick buildings. I personally like dark. I think the dark would look nice. But this tone is definitely something that they liked. We showed them about 6 or 7 different versions of different brick colors, and this is the one
Yeah.
that they liked. So
Yeah, I actually, I agree with that because I think it would help it to make it look like it doesn't dominate that area quite so much as a very dark brick wood up.
I guess that's
Up high.
true. Yeah, and
Yeah.
height. Mhm.
Yeah.
We're supposed to be colorblind here on the ARB, but it'd be nice to see maybe some, at least photographs of brick samples.
Oh, I'll bring actual bricks.
Oh, good, even
Great.
better.
Yeah. So photos
We
don't work.
we can't comment on the color choices too much, but
Oh, no?
we're
So
not-
I could show
Well,
like
yeah, I
purple
mean,
brick and you would
yeah,
say that's.
And we can talk about tone, I mean, which is really kind of what we're talking about now.
Yeah.
but-
Yeah, well, and I can just, the reason why I like to show the brick is because even in the light brown family,
Yeah,
I can show you a light brown brick that's ugly as can be, and I can show you another one that's beautiful.
yeah,
And they're both the same tone and color.
right.
So
Yeah,
the actual brick makes a big difference.
absolutely. Very good.
All right, well, thanks for coming.
Well, I appreciate your all's time
Did
and
Tracy have any other?
Tracy, yeah, you're on, and did you have anything to add?
No, I don't think so.
All right. All right, well, preliminary, so we'll look forward to seeing the final drawings, just with anything that's not worked out, materials.
Is there anything specifically we should include in the packet that you would like to see that we're not showing?
Yeah,
I think some of Chuck's comments about which windows will be
Yeah.
operable, and then
Yeah.
obviously, you know, for privacy and stuff, you're going to have to work in some solid areas in that penthouse. It would be nice to know where those are going to go. Those are the items that come to my mind.
Yeah,
And then,
Okay.
and just the massing of next to the church building.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's already been approved, that's kind of moot as well,
Right.
but
Right, but it's nice to see it.
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, and we have this nice model. So
right.
You might as well see it.
Very good.
Okay,
think
thank you
that's
very
it.
much.
You
Thanks,
bet.
man.
Thanks.
Good seeing you.
Good night. All right, with that, the meeting is officially adjourned. Thanks all.
This back.